Well, you could have saved at least like a second there if it would have killed it like pretty much instantly. So this is where Rogue just goes hella crazy. And this is exactly what you want. That is insane. Wait, let me replay that. Yo, what's up, guys? Finally, one of those videos where it's actually got my channel growing at the start, which was dungeon guides or dungeon show-offs, because this is going to be one of those where people say like, hey, but I can totally not make this team. Yeah, that's, I guess, either for those 1% or less than 1% that can make it, or just someone that just want to see like, hey, how OP can you get on this dungeon? This video. So as you can see, 24 seconds. That's insane. The last video I made on NB12 had a 29.10 second average, which was with Lucas. The main thing that changed is that Julie got a attack lead right now. So technically Julie has the same lead as Lucas right now, and therefore you don't necessarily need Lucas. At first I thought like, okay, then I can replace Lucas for an Astar, but actually Lucas is very strong, because if you look at the kit of Lucas, Lucas has the potential to get attack buff when team up with him through his S1. He has a passive that if he has a shield, he gets 30% extra crit rate. And he has the right element. So you only need to build him on 55 crit rate. If his S2 brings a unit below 50% HP, he goes for another turn. So Lucas actually has a very good skill set to team up and to clear this boss pretty fast. Actually better than Astar. So what makes this different than Lucas, because Lucas I would say is probably still the better team up potential, is that Rogues have the potential to reset the cooltime on the team up of Icarus as well. So I actually pre-recorded this, so sometimes I have to click through a little bit because my screen blacked out. But as you can see, we're getting consistent like 25-second average. It's actually not completely 25-second average, because it's still kind of team up dependent, like what happens. Can this team fill? Honest answer, yes. The double Rogue can fill, but the single Rogue, which I will show in a second, doesn't. Triple Ikaru with a Rogue is also safer than this. It is slightly slower though, because the Rogue can go like Rogue Cena kind of shit, and they just hella destroy the team. It's also just one of those teams that just looks like pretty satisfying to look at with all of the team ups. And the best thing is wave 1, one shot. Wave 2 can be one or two shot as well. So just one Ikaru moving with both Rogues actually clears the boss. Technically, the fastest on this, you could clear the whole boss in 5 turns. Because if I actually also specifically tuned it that first an Ikaru moves, the Ikaru can bring the double Rogue, but also the Julie, which is the best potential for breaking the shield. Then both of the Rogues move, and both of the Rogues moving and not moving last is because you don't want to have your Rogue Annihilation proccing when you kill the boss and it goes into the second form and he gets a shield again. Because that will be mostly a useless turn, because Rogue is not going to break like a 7-turn shield by itself. So the last hit is also has to be an Ikaru. So the first hit is Ikaru, last hit is Ikaru. If you go for a single Rogue, Rogue probably goes in the second after like the first Ikaru. But as you can see, we're actually getting pretty good average, like 25, 26 seconds, like every time. It is pretty dependent on what kind of team-ups you have. Because if your team-ups go pretty wrong, they start team-upping all up with Julie, it doesn't go that well. It doesn't really add up to too much stuff. The thing what makes the Lucian Astar with the triple Ikaru that good is because you can build the Lucian in a certain way, where Lucian will pretty much die before this wave happens. And therefore, Astar will always team up with the Icarus. And the Icarus also team up with one another. Because if they miss team up with one another, you miss out the whole rotation of getting team ups. So everyone will start using its S1. So that just wastes a lot of time. And therefore, the Rogues actually, with their own team up, they increase the chance of these team ups just going faster, and therefore also going smoother. So that's pretty much the idea of the team. It's a pretty funny team. I actually already had to de-rune it because we have the free R5 right now, so had to switch my runes to R5, so it's currently not runed. I will be running this more later. I was just going back to Necro because I farmed way too much Giants in the last... I literally did Giants for like 6 months. You get absolutely nothing. So, well, not nothing, but you don't get the things you want, which are like the quad speeds, right? So yeah, with that said, let me actually show you. I did record because I let this recording run for like an insane amount of time because I actually wanted to be able to record like the record run, which you also saw in the thumbnail, which was insanely fast. Personally, I think you could actually do fast. If you let this run fast enough, it is possible to clear the boss in 5 hits. So Julie moves, Ikaru moves, it teams up with both Rogues and it ends up to be armor broken. Afterwards, you also have the double Rogue moving, in which this you have to kill it on the second Rogue. And on the second Rogue, he will go for an Annihilate, and he has to go for slightly more damage on that. And then on the last Ikaru, it has to go with double Rogue, and they have to go multiple chops again. And that's how you actually get there. But enough talking about that. Let me show you the best run I did. So that's why you can see like a average of 27 seconds. It has been going up and down. It like I said, it's really depending on the teams. But this is one of those runs that was, I think this is the best one that I recorded. So this one didn't kill this in the fastest way possible. You could have saved at least like a second there if it would have killed it like pretty much instantly. So this is where Rogue just goes hella crazy. And this is exactly what you want. That is insane. Wait, let me replay that. So we're getting a 22.5 second. As you can see, I wasted 2 turns at the wave 2. So this could be a lot faster, and that's how you get the 21. But let me replay that one more time. So how does that go on the boss? So we have that team up. This is actually the time where I had Rogue moving first. Ikaru moving first is actually better from what I've noticed. So we have that team up. That team up goes with one Rogue that goes hella crazy. This one goes like 7 times, so that kind of shit. So yes, you need crazy RNG to actually get that fastest time. He teams up himself, and he actually kills it. Goes for the Annihilation, procs it a little bit more time. And this goes with the double Rogue, and in this case, the other Rogue starts hitting like crazy. So that is pretty much what you need to get these 22-second runs. This is also, I would say that this is a wrong order because the first Ikaru going first has probably higher chance to get the shield down pretty fast. So yeah, pretty interesting team, pretty satisfying team, pretty fun to see that this time is actually the number 6 time in Europe server right now. It is way faster than most of the times, but yeah, you need like godlike RNG to actually get there. So then on to the point where everyone's going to say like, oh my god, I cannot build this. This is the Julie. Julie is pretty good, I would say, but I noticed artifacts is a really big factor for Julie one-shotting. I compared a Dark plus 19% damage versus a 15% additional damage from attack. 15% additional damage from attack does way more damage. So in this case, I had a 14 because my 15 is actually used for Stella and RTA, and I don't really want to put Dark on it. So I had a 14 plus 4 Dark, made it just over the edge to kill with the amount of fight sets that I have, and that is quite some actually. So that, and then a 13 on this one. So if you want to build this team, it's not necessarily about having like the craziest Julie out there, but if you're having like a 16 and a 16 on additional damage from attack and then other good lines next to it, because this one barely has any other good lines next to it, then you're pretty much like getting closest to the potential of doing that. I have some good fight runes, so my first Ikaru is actually triple fight, and it still has some attack, some crit rate, some crit damage, and accuracy is actually maxed out by the artifact as well, because she needs 54 accuracy if I'm not mistaken. So this one actually has that. This is the Rogue, and the Rogue is a Rage Blade, and it just deals as much damage. Technically, you kind of want accuracy on this thing as well, because it has the S1 armor break potential, but it's very hard to fit in while having that much damage as well. I'm mainly focused on co-op damage and damage by Dark, because the main moment when Rogue starts doing damage is when he teams up. Like, his own turn doesn't deal damage. The turn where he S1s deals damage. So therefore, it's co-op damage towards him. So therefore, you want to have that co-op damage. And as you can see here, 16 on that one as well. My second Rogue, or actually, no, my third Ikaru is a double fight plus a guard with somewhat higher stats on the attack. I didn't showcase the run with 3 Ikarus and a Rogue, but it kind of works the same way. It just has more chance for your team-ups not to get messed up and they start doing as one. You also need a shield set in there. So this is my third Ikaru, and it has a double fight plus a shield. The moment I did a double Rogue setup, I removed the one Ikaru that had the guard set. So I still had 5 fight sets and 1 shield sets, which was the absolute minimum for me that I needed to make Julie one shot. Actually, I needed 6 because this Rogue is a 5+ rage. I can remove this fight set and then my Julie one shots the wave about 95% of the time, but you have like the RNG fluctuating of like how much damage you do. For example, you see your Lucian do like 10k, but sometimes slightly below 10k, sometimes slightly above 10k. That RNG made it that my Julie sometimes didn't kill if I didn't add this fight set. So you saw like the 8 damage on Dark on my Julie. If I get that to a higher one, I could remove this fight set and I can actually have a better team. And having the extra damage actually helps out a lot because you kind of want to clear the shield plus the first HP bar of the boss within the first 5 turns where you have all of the team-ups. So having some runs in the background of the Rogue one, technically this can still go as crazy as the other one. It's just harder to get like the exact team-ups with Rogue. But as you can see, this is pretty much as fast as the other one, and this one never failed for me. The double Rogue one did fail for me from time to time. The big issue is if at some point the boss gets 3 turns, if the boss gets 3 turns, he starts stealing the unit that did most damage. He steals your Rogue. Rogue teams up on you. Team up means that the boss moves. So when the boss moves, he does a lot of damage. But then if they kill something, Rogue gets Annihilate passive, and he hits again. And if he kills something on that one, he kills your whole team on team-ups, and he annihilates your whole freaking own team. So that's, you have to kill the boss within 3 turns. Like, it's a must, otherwise you pretty much die with Rogue. In the case of Lucas, that doesn't really happen. So in this case, you see where I don't kill the boss. Julie is actually pretty nice for Julie S3 having a 5-hit as well. That is a lot better than Lucian for killing the boss. And as you can see, like still 25, 27 seconds, those kind of averages. But let's actually look at the numbers of what was the actual average of all of it. So here we have the numbers. And as you can see, the double Rogue one is the fastest at a 28.08. But as you can also see, there were some averages where you did like 30.5, like if one run went pretty bad and that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, the most left column actually did fail from time to time. I also tried it with a double Rogue and then the Julie not 100% clearing. So the Julie was actually 99.5% clearing the waves, which I talked about earlier. And the main reason for trying out that is that a Rogue moves after Julie and uses a team up to clear that one last minion that's still standing there on wave 3. With that, you actually have the potential to team up with a Julie getting back her S3. Julie would start off with her S3 on the boss stage, which actually has a 5-hitter, and therefore pretty much breaks the shield straight off the get-go. That was an idea, but it never really worked out where it was faster than I thought it would be. So it might be potentially the fastest run out there, because you do waste like 1 extra turn, but it also gives you the potential to just clear the boss so much faster. But in the end, the average was slightly slower, as you can see. I also tried the team with a 1 Rogue and a triple Ikaru, and it was 0.8 seconds slower, but it was still faster than the Lucas version that I did, but it was only slightly faster than the Lucas version. I also tried it with an Astar instead of the Lucas, so still triple Ikaru Astar, but I noticed right away I did like 2 runs of 10, and these are all runs of 10, by the way, so it's the average of 10, it's not the average of a single runner. What you're looking at is like 100 something, like 140 runs per like the 2 columns on the left and then less on the right side. So as you can see, the double Rogue one is quite a bit faster. The double Rogue one would work a lot better for me if I had a better Julie on the damage on Dark, so I don't need the second Rogue to have fight runes, because its fight runes were pretty bad, like it was carried by the rage runes. If I can make that a Rage Blade or a Rage Broken or anything like that, then I'm pretty sure that the double Rogue one will start to be a lot better. Even for me, there's some improvements on the team. I think this is the fastest potential team you can get out there. If you have a Julie one-shotting, I would definitely try this out. It's just funny, it's just satisfying. If you don't, and you want to know what kind of team I would recommend you to use, and that is, I will link it in the description down below. First link is the Suicide Lucian. So it's a Lucian that does S3 on wave 3, potentially kills himself, and then you have the triple Ikaru going together with an Astar and killing that. Actually pretty interesting. That might be interesting for people to check. I think replacing that Astar with a Lucas will get you a better run. I never made a video on that. I never tried that team specifically because the moment I had that team, I had it with a Julie. But I think that team would do better with a Lucas than an Astar as well, for mainly 2 reasons. Lucas is the right element, and Lucas only needs 55 crit rate, whereas Astar needs 100 crit rate. If you happen to have a very high crit damage set versus a high crit rate set, your crit damage set on a Lucas would do a lot more than on a Star. So maybe something you can try out, and that you still have some useful information from this video. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Still aiming for that 50k. Like this video, and see you all in the next one.